Are you on Titty Talk yet?
Hello, can you speak into your mic? It's the look at the end.
That's what gets me.
Be great. Be great to guest on someone's podcast. It'd be really normal in the setup as soon as the mic start rolling.
Yeah, and then we could probably discuss that. So what do you feel about the new variant, Andrew?
What do you think would happen if you went on like the Andrew Marr show? I don't know how. There's just nothing in the playbook of how to respond. Would you get taken off? How long? So do you think it's really safe leaving shops? Leaving shops and restaurants open when it's clear that the COVID numbers are rising so much, Andrew? I'm sorry, this is... I don't really understand what you're doing. They'd have to just cut.
Yeah, you'd be cut off.
You cut to that. You'd cut. How many would you get in though? How many?
Two. They'd cut you off on the second one. This is a fact. Because the first one might, you might be having a seizure or something. The second one, they realise. Because when they stop and he's clearly answering questions with the noise, then they realise something was up.
Yeah, but I don't think there's no protocol. I don't think anyone was ready for that. I just think no one's ready for someone.
Well, it's like if someone comes on air and just starts shouting "fuck."
No, it's not.
Well, it's not in terms of the content.
Yeah, because that's like genuinely like but there's clear procedure for when someone swears.
Yeah, and I think the procedure would double up for when someone swears. If someone goes, it's kind of the same thing as swearing on TV. It can't go on.
Yeah, but I think what you do is if they cut to an advert break, you'd be like, "Oh, I promise I'm not going to do it again."
Yeah,
I'm
back now. I'm back now. Let's do the slot. Let's do the slot. That would be the best practical joke you can do.
What? Develop a career.
Yeah, develop a career.
Like a serious renowned career.
Political pundit. Finally get on the Andrew Marr show as an interview and then balls it up.
Hello, and welcome back to another episode.
Oh, didn't see you there.
Yeah, sorry. You just caught a candide conversation. Well, yes, this is the Omicron special, I guess. This is COVID Christmas. It's striked again.
Omicron!
Yeah, it's funny because this is having a real deja vu, is sort of that feeling of the sort of pirate radio feeling of like we're on a boat in the middle of the Atlantic and this is our only sort of connection with the world again. We feel very isolated again.
Stranded.
Yeah, because it seemed in the last... was it the day before yesterday where it all went mental?
Day before yesterday, yeah.
Day before it was Tuesday. Yeah, on Tuesday it just felt like everything shifted when every single person we knew sort of got some COVID or new COVID.
Or close contact to a COVID Easter.
Yeah, so it just immediately just flipped. Everyone started cancelling plans and it became very real again.
Yeah.
And then I think both of us we sort of went into isolation mode.
Yeah.
And acted quite like, I don't know, I certainly acted, I kind of panicked a little bit and sort of just like...
You just went around the house screaming.
No, I just sort of I don't know, it's hard to know what to do. We ate KFC 2 nights in a row and drank a lot.
That happened.
And
back on the booze.
And it's just I haven't got anything done, even though I've had more time to do it than ever because it just feels real.
We had breakfast at 1:30 p.m. today.
It was 2, I think.
Was it 2? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's done.
No. I had a call at 2:30 and I came. It was 2:50. We had breakfast.
Yeah. I'm already drinking. It's really confusing.
I just it was funny because my schedule's completely cleared. cancelled gigs. I have all this time to do all this work, and I just couldn't do any of it because it just
It took us 8 hours to do a sketch. It's horrible. Cutting out cardboard. And
yeah.
Making.
So I just feel like I've reacted really erratically to.
I think we both fueled each other's.
We just got sort of like, what are we doing?
We've just presumed we
just
can't go
eating
home
fried
for
chicken.
Christmas. We've just eaten loads of fried chicken. A lot of fried chicken. In fairness, that's because, look, I'm not really a KFC guy.
I always have been.
He always has been.
Yeah.
But there's something about the gravy adverts, the Christmas gravy adverts, that really sucked me in. And I was
Really?
like, you know what?
Christmas cheer?
No, just the gravy.
The gravy, yeah.
I'm
Just
not-
the meat
let's
juice.
not dress it up as what it is. It is just pure meat juice. Meat juice.
There is something. So it's to dip your chicken in, isn't it?
Well, yeah, well, you've poured it on your burger as well if you feel so inclined.
Or is that the one where they have the little hash brown that's shaped
Yeah, I took the hash brown out.
too much?
It's a bit too much.
Yeah.
I don't need that much.
It's overkill.
Mush in there.
Yeah.
Just give me the chicken, the salad, and
But-
the gravy. But on the night before, so our first KFC, I was very excited about the gravy.
This is a great anecdote, by the way.
It's nearly over. They didn't bring the gravy. So I was gravyless, which was not what you want. I thought, yeah, it's been a long day.
Yeah.
Everyone seems to have COVID.
Yeah.
I might have to spend another Christmas by myself. I'm going to get a KFC.
It felt like
I'm going to get some KFC gravy, and they didn't supply me with the gravy.
it felt sort of weirdly like a snow day.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? There's the crazed sort of.
Well, I've been off work for a week.
Yeah, you've been
as well.
off work because
I
our
think
Wi-Fi's
that's
been
the
down.
real fuel of the anarchy.
Yeah,
It's-
our Wi-Fi's just fucked itself, and
It's
every single
week.
person pretty much who's been helping us has been really
It's
unhelpful
like-
at every stage. They've always been the least unhelpful people. We haven't had Wi-Fi
They've
for a
asked
week.
us one question 100 times. Is your light orange? Yes. And we've been past the different people saying, what is your light orange? Yeah, no, it is.
And
So
then,
I
no,
told
what they
them
do
last night.
is they ask, is your light orange? Okay, this is above my pay grade. You're going to have to speak to someone else.
I think an
And
orange
how long
light-
will that be? 3 working days. Over the weekend then, so 5 days. 5 days go by. Is your light orange?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay, well we're gonna need to call someone else
That's
because
a bit above my station, I'm afraid. I believe an orange light means you'll just eventually get in touch with the CEO of Talk. I don't think he'll even know what to do with an orange light. But it's been a week with no Wi-Fi.
yeah.
now.
So you've taken a week off work as well.
I can't work.
So I think that's probably added to your sort of like
Well, it's been mental.
your snow day party vibes.
There was one day when me and Adam sat in the living room. I was on TikTok for 9 hours. And he was just watching me look at TikTok.
Yeah.
Just staring at me with a blank face. Not even like wondering what was going on in the videos. Not laughing when I wasn't even laughing either.
Yeah.
It was a very odd day, and that is just... I mean, that's just kind of rolled on into the weekend and then into here.
Sometimes watching TikToks is like having a big tube of Pringles, and just each one is you're just like I've eaten enough Pringles now,
Yeah.
but then you see there's still more in the
You're
top.
like, why not have another Pringles? Give me
But then just scrolling through, it's just like,
Oh, well, why not? I mean, it's the genius of the, instead of, because it used to be, I guess, with other stuff, you like maybe swipe to the side,
Yeah.
don't you? But you just swipe it up, it's like, oh, it was there anyway.
yeah. Well, anyway, I need to get, but it's the feeling of you want to get to the end of the tape.
Yeah,
or you're trying to.
exactly.
Do you know what TikTok is like when you have masking tape and you don't know where the end bit is?
Yeah.
So you're just constantly searching. There's no idea what you're looking for.
Searching for yourself.
Well, I swear it's here, and you just keep going over the same
It must
shit.
be there. It must be there. That's the big controversy about the guy. The guy who created the never-ending timeline has publicly apologised.
Has he?
Yeah, because that's why we're all so addicted. Because if it's like, remember when we used to have pages? When you get to the bottom of page 1, you then click on page 2, like on Google search or something.
Yeah, yeah.
And then once you get to the bottom of page 1, you're like, that's enough.
Yeah.
But then when there's just one long page, you're constantly searching for the end.
Do you think it's like potentially biopic territory for the guy who invented the never-ending scroll?
I don't know much about his personal life.
Yeah, but I wonder if it's because he had such good intentions, and it's sort of like
And then he's
it kind of like the rise and fall of like
created a
he's got this sort of story where he's set out his like these utopian dreams
Yeah.
that it opens with just loads of people reaching the end of the page and being like, oh, for fuck's sake.
God, another end of page. God, I wish I didn't have to click.
And then you had the rise as he invents
Ding.
it, yeah, and then he
Right.
keeps doing it. Everything seems to be better, and then slowly it starts to decay.
And he realises realises what the terrible thing he's brought into this world.
Also, we went back to curries, which is not a good sign. We had a Wi-Fi issue a year ago, and we had to go to curries again. And whenever you're in curries, whenever we're in the curries in Stepney Green, it's always for a bad reason.
Often, I think I've never been to Curry/PC World for an exciting time or something I'm looking forward to.
Yeah.
It's always because it's either because something's gone terribly wrong.
Something's gone terribly wrong.
You're really trying to do something and you need a wire for it. And you just can't find the fucking wire.
Yeah, in a shop where there's so many things, and then you
can't find the wire home, and then you go into Curry's and you find the wire.
Yeah, or there's if you can't find something, there's like all these like bizarre different types of toasters mocking you.
Exactly.
It's like, oh no, we don't have that tiny wire that you need, but we do have
we have this air fryer.
We have 50 types of air fryer.
Well, there was one piece of
technology
that we just couldn't work out what the fuck it was.
It was called like it was
Model
called,
X.
It was called it was called Model X JC, and then it was this sort of like
I don't know what it was.
like a vase sort of shape with like a cylinder at the top.
It's like sieve type thing.
it was absolutely.
My best guess was a rice cooker, but I don't think it was a good guess.
I don't think it was a good guess at all
And
because it didn't have a lid.
With the naming of it, they didn't even know what it was. So they just said, just call it Model X 3459 because we don't know what it does.
So the content now that it seems for the foreseeable future, there's not going to be much going on in our lives. This is sort of going to be
discussing different models of technology at times, not knowing what they are, and thinking that passes as interesting podcasting.
I certainly the feeling when we found out that everyone was getting isolated, we both kind of looked at each. I think once you started really kicking your shoes off, like right, you're settling in for the lot. It was sort of like when I was in a school play when I was a kid in London. It was Joseph Technicolor Dreamcoat, and then afterwards there was this sort of mad frantic thing. I didn't really understand what was happening, but I was allowed to go to a friend's house, and there was just this kind of school was off, and we had the day off, and it was really unclear what happened. 7/7 bombings. So
it felt like that.
Yeah, it felt like that. And sadly, the perverse thing is it was one of the best days of my life because I had no idea what the 7/7 bombings was, but I got to after do it smash in a school play.
Clip, isn't it?
The 7/7 bombings
were the best day of my life. Great. You can quote
clip it up.
Get that one out on TikTok. I quite pervert. Right, it's almost like.
Is this going to be perverted?
Yeah, it's going to be absolutely.
It's going to be deviant.
Buckle in, guys. As I was saying on the last podcast, perversely like the idea of lockdown again, and I think that's just because I enjoyed that day when it all started kicking off. I like the drama.
What have been the highlights of? So the big one was that news conference where he announced you have to stay inside, basically. Announced the first lockdown. That was sort of the big crazy day.
That was cool. Yeah.
That felt like kind of war shelter style things.
Yeah.
What other? Well, any announcement on lockdown.
The biggest one for me was the Christmas announcement.
When he cancelled Christmas.
Yeah,
because I was literally on the way. I was on the Eurostar trying to get back to London, and he announced it on the Eurostar about London going into Tier 3. So I got out with St Pancras, and I was like, yeah. You were all gone.
Yeah.
I was like, well, I guess I'm going home now. As in coming back here and then being by myself.
And you had Christmas alone again. But you told me that you part of you's like sort of ready for the misery of a second Christmas alone.
It's just hilarious. It's just so funny. I just find it so hilarious because I just wake up on Christmas Day and I'm like, Merry Christmas to no one. And it's just me. And I'm like, I wonder what I'm going to do today. Might cook something. I don't know. Maybe not. I mean, I can't even.
Is it even a good day compared to most days?
It was hilarious. It was just funny. I kept because everything you do is funny. Like, even if I watch something on the TV, I'm like, it's Christmas Day. And I'm just looking around and there's no one. And it's Christmas Day. It's so funny. I do find it perversely hilarious for some reason. But it might be because I realised the Christmas before that I was working from 1 p.m. till 10. So it would be nice to see the family for Christmas.
For 1 year.
Spend some Christmas time with them. But we'll
see.
But
also...
It's a big charm. But also, it is hilarious being by yourself. It's really funny. So we'll see. I mean, there's a fair chance. I don't know. I need to do this, what's it called? PCR test to see if I can go home or not.
Yeah, because a lot of our friends have had it. But after we did the sketch last time, we got drunk and had our second KFC, which, 2 KFCs in a row it takes its toll on certainly my system.
Well, that's why I mentioned the gravy. Because I wouldn't under normal circumstances, I wouldn't usually ever have just like 2 takeaways maybe in a row, or particularly from fast food chains as such. But I feel like we've earned it, and I wanted some gravy. You may continue with your story.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, Andrew really
I even go for 3.
What? That's
I
great.
really don't want to go for 3.
I really don't want to do that.
I might make a ragu instead. Anyway, continue.
I think the Colonel's 5 spice formula is starting to really seep into my
it's
bloodstream.
hit
It hit me hard. I ate KFC. Because we ate the KFC about
very
late, and then went straight to sleep.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah,
is
that's true,
you're not really meant to eat a giant meal and then immediately go to sleep.
Yeah.
So then I had
We were
one of the
wild full of fried chicken whilst watching this drug
cartel thing in the dark.
Drama in the dark.
Drunk as shit.
Yeah. There was one point which you didn't react to that much, but I was in my duvet. And I had a takeaway Guinness from the pub on the table, and I reached for it, and I just fell completely off the sofa. Do you remember I was reaching for it, and I just fell off.
I thought you dropped something.
No, I was reaching for the Guinness, and I fell off. And then I started laughing.
That's like a Renaissance. That's like a Renaissance painting. It's you just sort of reaching out.
It says a lot. It says a lot in philosophy.
Yeah, that's a low point.
It was such a flop.
You're covered in fried chicken.
Fried chicken and gravy.
And you just reach out.
Oh, more beer.
Akio beer. And so I went to bed, and then I had genuinely one of the wildest fucking nights of my life. I slept for 3 hours. I properly went to bed at 2, and then woke up at 5. And then when I tried to go back to sleep, I didn't. I got out of bed about 12:45, 1:45.
Yeah.
In the end, so I was dipping in and out of consciousness for 6 hours, and it was one of the most like wild rides I've ever been on in any sort of dreamscape. The problem was I was having a fever dream, so it was like reality was kept, and there's loads of shit going on.
You're
with
not
loads.
ill, are you?
I don't think so.
Okay, cool.
Maybe. I mean, it was wild.
That's like
It was fucking wild, but it wasn't like scary. It was kind of thrilling.
Yeah.
But what was so mad about the dream is that in the dream, I revealed when I thought I was in a forest was that I was in a VR printed background in this sort of like leisure centre.
Yeah,
and it was like a really like but it was weirdly done. So it was like you were there, and you did not react to the VR like it was mad.
I can imagine.
But it was this sort of like giant like leisure centre. But yeah, it was one of those shitty British leisure centres with another layer of reality projected onto it. So it was sort of absolute. That's kind of my main sort of interest is like when it's like reality within reality within reality, and you could completely, because maybe this might not even be based reality,
What, here now?
Well, because there's the VR, there was the forest, there was the leisure centre, there's this, and I could easily still be in bed. Do you know what I mean?
Oh my god, maybe are you suggesting we're in a leisure centre right now?
No.
And that you were VRing this, and then in the VR you went to sleep. And
no, I'm suggesting we might be somewhere else, dreaming about this, this, that I've woken up in this reality, and what the dream I had before was of a leisure centre where there was a VR forest.
I think we're in a leisure centre.
Okay.
In VR, and in the VR it was us eating 2 KFCs and then going to sleep, and then you had a dream in that VR reality that you were in a forest, which is actually a VR in a leisure centre.
I think it could be one of the.
Should we keep going?
One of the worst VR experiences if we use our VR, because the metaverse is now coming good and strong, where it's looking like
absolutely,
it's looking like we might reach the kind of even most ambitious ideas of what VR could be.
Yeah,
where anything's possible. And I like the idea of being in this sort of mouldy house, getting a KFC.
Yeah,
and that's how we use the metaverse.
Metaverse, just to eat too much chicken, and to have horrible dreams. Drink too much. That's the peak of technology, isn't it? Well, I would. Well, that's an interesting way for VR to go. If we could simulate taste and eating, then no one would be fat.
No one.
No one.
I bet some people would still be fat.
Some people.
Because they can't help themselves.
We're looking at you.
How would you use the metaverse if it came
I've
good?
just said that.
What? Just eat KFC?
Yeah, you could go in and you could be like, oh, I'll have a massive meal, and then
There's a lot of other things you can explore.
correct. I failed to see your point.
Yeah, I wonder if in the VR world people are going to have. Like, we know a lot of people who aren't crazy ambitious with lifestyle or how they. Do you know what I mean? Well, like
A lot of losers.
no, people who are content. I can imagine. I wonder how they would treat the metaverse. Like, do you know?
I think Adam would just simulate an office job.
You can have anything you want. I'm fine with this.
No, this is cool. Or just have wings or something, but just have a normal. Like,
That's it.
Doesn't even use them to fly.
Why would I?
Why would I? Why, if you're happy, you're happy. Contentness is contentness. Slam dunk it.
Contentness is contentness.
I also woke up at 7:30.
Yeah.
And I thought, I'll have a quick vape. Leant over for my vape.
Well, a cheeky 7:30.
A cheeky 7:30 vapo.
Really? Are you waking up in the middle of the night? And
Well, I was kind of more awake. I was like, like one of them.
I guess I'd never have that urge of being like, oh fucking hell.
Because you're not as addicted to nicotine.
No,
as
it's
I am.
true.
So, much like the reach for the Guinness, I reached for the vape and I didn't fall off the bed, but I knocked the vape off and then it broke. And then that's the annoying thing because I was like, I don't really care about it that much, but I want to make sure it's not properly broken. So then I had to scramble around the floor trying to find where the other thing was, like the top of it, and then two of the magnet things.
While
had
you're
come
doing
off.
this, I'm hurtling through space and time.
And I'm just like, where the fuck is that magnet thing? So there were these two little things. I had to turn the light on. There, these two little things that are magnetized. So then, and I couldn't get them off because the magnet was so strong. So I was like, at 7 a.m. feeding KFC'd up and pretty hungover and tired. I was trying to work out what in my room would be able to attract maybe a negative or a positive force from this magnet. And I found some coins.
And do they work?
The silver didn't, the copper did.
Wow, okay.
I was pretty fucking happy with myself. I was like, I reckon it would be one of these two. The silver didn't, and I thought, you know what, the copper's not going to work either. But bam, it did.
So this is the sort of thrilling content you're going to be getting for the next couple of weeks. But have you seen any Christmas films over the period? Do you like Christmas films? Do you find any sort of...
No, I don't.
No, you don't
I'm
like...
not going to keep up this veneer of pretending to like them, nor do I want to be on the other account that's like, fuck Christmas, haha. I don't want to use either of these as a form of a personality.
I feel people who say fuck Christmas do wear fedoras.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's something edgelordy and sort of like...
Or quite burly women.
Like who?
Like my manager at work.
This did feel very specific and pointed.
Well, there's just this whole thing at work. Like, there's some Christmas stands who love Christmas.
Christmas
stands, and they post things in the channel that's like, oh, pick your Christmas snacks and your Christmas, like, is A is a list of films, B is a list of snacks, C is a list of drinks, and it's what's your perfect Christmas evening. So there's those, and then there's others who are like, oh, I don't like Christmas. Bah humbug, I'm a Scrooge. I don't want to be either of those
Yeah, so
sides.
the debate is...
I don't care.
Yeah.
It's fine. I don't like Christmas films. They're generally bad.
Sure.
They can be fun, sure, for an evening. They can be fun. They're not good, obviously. And that's the end of that.
Our flatmate Adam has this quite strange thing where he'll actively like miss social plans to not see films because he actively doesn't like films.
Hates films.
He just doesn't like.
He doesn't. When on the day that we didn't have any Wi-Fi, well, on one of the days we didn't have any Wi-Fi, and he was staring at a wall and at me watching TikTok videos. I had plans with his friends as well to go bowling, but he doesn't like bowling, so he just didn't go. So he stayed by himself at home with no Wi-Fi. He managed to download
a Christmas film.
The 4 Christmases, which is an hour and a half, and that was all I left at like 4 p.m. That's all he had. He had an hour and a half of content, but he hates bowling and activities so much that he'd prefer to stay at home.
Yeah. The weird thing about him is that I mean, this does really show how deeply pathological his illness is. his personality
internalized
disorder.
and-
He doesn't like films, but he's obsessed about Christmas films, which is that's a double red flag.
It's a massive red
I mean,
flag.
that's mental, isn't it? That is crackers and cheese. Isn't
It's
it?
crackers
That's
and
Billy
cheese.
Chonkers.
It's crackers and cheese from the guy.
I don't like films apart from
He will-
I know every Christmas film and I love Christmas films.
And the guy doesn't have many opinions on things either. But you start talking about Christmas and suddenly he's fucking, I don't know who's got a lot of opinions. Brian Cox, the scientist.
The universe is massive.
Again, an opinion. Another clear opinion from Brian Cox.
It's just so big.
It's just a big fucking gas giant. Just one of those big gas.
So this is Jupiter. It's fucking
It's
really big.
It's just fucking
But
massive.
the sun is bigger.
But it's huge.
Nothing's as big as the universe, apart from maybe the multiverse.
It really just makes you think about who we are
It's
and
just
what
like
our
this.
place is in
So
the universe.
If the Earth's an apple,
I'm
then
a
the
pear.
universe
No, wait, that
is a
doesn't work.
really big apple.
It's like huge, like a massive apple. Brian, stop telling us all your opinions on things.
Why we need to stop these straight white men, these opinionated straight white men,
Opinionated straight white
forcing
men.
their
Opinions.
toxic opinions.
Opinions.
Universe is massive.
Just
Brian,
massive. Brian, let someone else speak for once, okay? We've
stop
heard
cutting
enough.
women up on question time. But the universe is just like this
It's
big.
just like
like-
big.
Imagine a handful of blackberries.
Imagine like a pie, like a big pie. Like a big old pie, and then a star. Star's like the dusting of the pie, and then you cut into it, and that's us. That's who we are. It's our place in the universe. Makes you think, doesn't it? It really makes you think about our place in the universe.
But yeah, so he's a very ill man. But
Adam, not Brian.
not Adam. We're big Brian stands.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we didn't have Wi-Fi, which is like it feels like when you got called by Talk and they're like, oh, okay, you're going to have to wait probably around 7 days with no Wi-Fi. It felt like this can't be the procedure because without Wi-Fi, life does become kind of ridiculous and very hard to live because everything is like none of us could work.
No.
You can't watch any TV.
That was tough.
It's like it just shows you that there's nothing you can sort of do.
Yeah. Other than TikTok.
On 4G,
On 4G,
that's
but
sort
that
of
was
like,
running out with
and it's
speed.
like you're doing that all week, and it's
Yeah.
like it just shows how reliant you are. And so we all went a bit mad because you watched TikTok for 9 hours on your own. I then picked up my FIFA career mode, and my old one hadn't saved, so I had to start again. And I knew I was only going to do it for a day, so it felt very weird. And when you're starting a career mode, I still invested in youth and sort of laid down the building blocks for
Because you have to still be a good manager, even though you're only going to play for a day.
I'm only playing
You
for
can't
a day.
leave the club you can't leave the club poorly.
So I spent most of it was sort of like researching young talent,
Training.
trying to be like, maybe this season we won't get our goals
Because
but
without
I'm
that,
investing
it's
in
not
the
fun.
future.
Without that,
The
it's
whole
not
point.
fun.
So I was investing.
Otherwise, you might as well just be playing kickoff.
Exactly. It's all about investing in
Yeah.
the future.
But I have watched a Christmas film recently,
What did you watch?
Love Actually.
Okay. What do you think of Love Actually?
I enjoyed it.
Because it was the
actually.
first time you've seen it.
It was the first time I've seen it. I enjoyed it. I liked the roller coaster ride of it. It was,
Roller coaster.
Yeah, it was up, it was down, it was left, it was right, upside down a couple of times, and all came crashing to a horrible conclusion.
Yeah.
No, I thought it was one of the better Christmas films I've
Sure.
watched. It was just like, it's just fun. I mean, there is some of the plot lines are obscene, of course, and some of them are pretty bleak. As in when Professor Snape wants to cheat on his wife kind of thing.
Yeah.
I don't see there's a great resolution to that at the
No.
end. Just because they hug each other at an airport doesn't mean that he didn't really want to fuck a woman.
He really
Well,
did.
he didn't though. I mean, who starts an affair by buying them a necklace?
How would you start an affair?
By having sex with them. Like, come
Very
on,
different men.
me and Alan Rickman have got a massive difference in how to have
It
an
wasn't
affair.
about it. It wasn't him.
What do you mean it wasn't about him?
It wasn't. Alan Rickman wasn't playing himself.
What? I thought they were all playing themselves. Hugh Grant was PM, wasn't it? This is just an incorrect reality I've posted. No, because I think the good thing about it was often I don't like Christmas films because the stories are quite bad and they're way too wholesome. So the fact that there was like 8 stories meant that you kind of, oh great, you don't want to. I didn't have to sit through one story for too long because I was like, oh, this is happening over there.
There was enough lessons being learned, and it wasn't like keep reiterating the same lessons.
Yeah.
Like we learned lots of different things. We had to keep it brief. There were so many storylines. I forgot. I rewatched it as well.
It's astonishing.
I forgot how
I think
many.
there's 8 or something.
There was what's the fucking name of the woman who's in Ozark?
I don't know her name, but yeah.
No,
I don't know her name.
C.
I don't know. Catherine. I thought it was Kate. Kate. We don't know.
Very good actress.
Very
good.
good.
I was like, I forgot completely about it. I was like, she has a storyline as well.
And it's astonishing the amount of content they cram into that film. Because I thought it was, she wants to have sex with her co-worker, and suddenly she's got a brother in a mental hospital.
Yeah.
And that's why she can't have sex.
And it's like, we can't really spend much time on this.
Yeah, that was it. And I was like, oh, okay. What am I meant to take from that?
Yeah. Well, I find I'm sort of quietly obsessed with.
Hasn't been quiet for this week. But go on.
Hasn't.
This is the 4th time I've heard this point.
With this sort of period in British media from 1997 to probably 2005, until the Iraq War was really kicking off.
Yeah.
Early noughties, late 90s, Blair years, where the depiction of London in films is kind of fascinating. The other one in this canon is Sliding Doors. Is that what it's called? Sliding Doors, the one with Gwyneth Paltrow, where she misses.
One I haven't seen.
She goes to a train, she gets it.
Yeah.
She catches
spoke
her
about
boyfriend
this.
cheating. She misses
Yeah.
it. Ridiculous film, but Sliding Doors, Closer, the one with Natalie Portman, and it's all about relationship stuff, all set in this kind of period of London. Love Actually and the Will Young music video. I think I better leave right now. The one where
we have discussed this. I remember discussing Will Young and Sliding Doors in the same conversation. So it's one to add to the canon.
It adds to the canon of this period of kind of quite naive hope.
Yeah.
Of like, it was just after Blair had been elected, and it was sort of like,
we're all going to be okay.
After the Second World War, Britain was on a terminal decline, and then Blair comes in, and suddenly it's like, we're our own thing. Even it's summed up by Hugh Grant's speech about against the US president.
Oh yeah,
where he's like, David Bracken's
very poor diplomacy, by the way.
Terrible. I mean,
Awful
like
diplomacy.
Risky. These guys are nuclear option.
Yeah, what? Just because he
your biggest ally
kissed a lady.
It's absolutely like mental sort of behaviour.
Honestly, and just the way that it was just heralded, like, and I think that's the biggest point about.
I would like to see the fallout, especially in the States, of like, this is, you can't be a professional diplomat and sort of embarrass the most powerful person in the world like that.
There'd be so many
over
sanctions.
something so small as well.
No, and just the way that suddenly he's a hero in like a national hero.
The guy, he should not be.
The media would be absolutely ripping the cunt to shreds. You can't do that. What do you mean? He's pissing everyone off.
But it sums up the kind of confidence in the idea of Britishness. Not, you don't see an ounce of Englishness. The idea of England doesn't really exist in this sort of thing. It is Britain, this new Britain, this kind of summed up by, and also the hilarious dress sense of a lot of them. That sort of, there's that kind of like the messy, the styled messy hair,
fleeces,
zipped fleeces, and that is an not often talked about generation is the Gen Xers. We talk about boomers, we talk about millennials, we talk about Zoomers. But I think that sort of collection, it was when the Gen Xers were holding the levers of cultural power. This is when they controlled it.
Yeah.
And I think Love Actually is the ultimate Gen X film because it shows up. That's our dad's generation. It shows.
Okay,
like,
I didn't need that.
Yeah.
I still don't understand it. I just
because there's boomers who are straight after Second World War. Whoever was born from 1945 to 1960. Then there was Gen X's 1960 to 1980. Yeah, then millennials 1980 to 1990.
You do this every because it's my fault I don't understand it because when you start I just zone out.
Yeah,
I wasn't listening. Whatever. I'm not gonna bother to learn it. Yeah, but no, I see that. So what, our parents' generation?
Yeah, and it's just funny seeing the kind of like. And even watching Notting Hill, which is done by the same guy as Love Actually, set in the same sort of London. It's like this idea that he's this sort of like dishevelled, failing book salesman who lives in a house in Notting Hill.
Yeah.
And it's like just the ideas of what was shabby and chic is just
yeah.
so. And the way that they kind of presented,
not living
really,
with a house with holes in with rats.
Yeah, exactly. Present really posh white straight people, and it's sort of like universally accepted as like. That's fine presenting Britain as kind of only being about these sort of people. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And now it's funny to me that now the idea of Britishness it was such a, we sort of fucked it. Like
Yeah.
with the high hopes of that period, it's
Yeah.
like if they only could see how downhill it's gone, like you couldn't make anything yet remotely close to Love Actually now.
Oh my god, no! My god, nothing like it.
No one owns anything.
No.
Everyone hates each other.
Everyone's poor.
No one. Europe hates Britain.
Yeah, I mean, just particularly
America
the Prime Minister.
pity us.
The Prime Minister story. It just wouldn't fly in the slightest.
Not
it's
at
just
all.
the contempt for politicians
And
doesn't
posh
seem to-
people as well, because the Hugh Grant he sort of brought back an acceptable face.
They're all pretty insufferably posh.
Yeah.
Every single one of them.
Exactly, Keira Knightley, but then they all have this sort of thing like, oh, we're living these shabby kind of normal lives, which is now, if you talk about now being like owning a place in London, living in London, working,
Owning a bookstore. You're smashing it, mate. Congratulations.
Yeah, but Hugh Grant for a while was sort of the acceptable face of poshness, of like a way of like the bumbling buffoon and that sort of thing, where it was like, oh, isn't it nice that he's got this sort of dignified kind of, he knows all these manners and politeness, but he's just so sweet, and like that just cannot fly now because they know how deep the horrors of the class system,
class manipulation occur. Yeah, it's really. I guess it's just at the start of its militant expression. This is happening. They're not contented with financial crises and everything.
But yeah, that's all I have to say on that matter. But do watch the Will Young "Think I Better Leave Right Now" video, because it is a real blast back through time of a more innocent time.
And maybe what happens here is a good way to trace this concept of Britishness in London, particularly, is almost immediately after you get Sherlock, get BBC Sherlock.
A while back, but yeah, you go.
When did Sherlock come out?
Maybe like 10 years after.
10 years after. Well, but you talk about the period about up to like 2005.
Yeah.
Sherlock was out. Was it not out like that early?
I think it was like 2012, wasn't it?
I have no idea because I didn't watch it.
Carry on. I'll find out. I'll do a bit of research.
I didn't watch it originally. I've got nothing to carry on with as of yet.
What was that? Was that it? 2010.
Well, no, 2010.
Well, that was
because that was quite key to the point.
That was aggressively Britishness, but it was a new sort of Britishness.
There's a bit more bleakness.
Yeah, it's a little
but
bit
it's
more
still
drawn
quite
out.
London.
It's got this
pride, and there's a bit more concepts of corruption and stuff going in, and you can almost see that through the series.
Class tensions are slightly,
they're a bit more there.
Yeah,
but you can still have an insufferably posh main character, like some sort of whiz.
Yeah.
But it's still aggressively it's like a love letter to London, isn't it? These things, and that is horrible. I hate it.
But then you watch it quite obsessively, which when we were talking about like ranking of like the worst fans, I remember I did say I threw Sherlock in the mix, and then you defended it, and I didn't realise that was actually because you were watching it. At the time. When you were slacking off Doctor Who, I was like, yeah, and Sherlock fans. You're like, no,
leave them out of it.
Not those guys. And I was like, I always found it interesting. And then I found out that you've watched it 5 times through.
There's a difference between watching something and being a super fan of it. You can watch something 5 times and not want to discuss it with anyone. You can have. You're
not on the forums.
I have internalized shame about watching it, essentially, but it's just so goddamn watchable. But, no, it's the more I watch it, the more I begin to loathe it.
I mean, when you say the more I watch it, you are on like a 4th time.
Correct, yeah. I think I've got a bit of a sucker for detective stuff.
Yeah, you always have. You love that kind of stuff.
I do like that kind of shit, and I like some, because everything now is a lot more bleak detective things, as in more noir kind of darker shit.
It's like rape cases, like domestic abuse.
Whereas I just want to see what's like this. I want to see him unfold a puzzle. Why are all these Thatcher heads being broken?
Yeah.
I'm sure Sherlock will be able to work it out. It's obscene.
I think that if I was going to write an essay on it, I'd be on the presentation of cleverness. I think that is sort of the most fascinating thing.
Yeah,
is the
akin to autism,
sort of, but it's just like, yeah, it's this kind of like sapiosexual sort of thing where it's like everyone's on a sort of scale of intelligence. It's how they present stupidity and how they present cleverness.
Yeah,
and it's like, Benedict Cumberbatch versus his counterpart Moriarty. That's sort of like. These are the 2 clever ones. Yeah. Back off. Let them
play. Because everyone else is just nowhere near them. And when you look back, it's like, it's not. Moriarty isn't really clever.
Is he not?
No, well, you never really see him do any really clever stuff.
I thought he was super clever.
Yeah, because he goes, "Bleh," you think he's super clever. But then when you actually look at the stuff he does, it's not like fucking genius.
Do you not think?
No, he just
swear he
destroys
does
his
mad
reputation.
things.
He doesn't do mad things.
Oh, really?
He just owns a network of criminals or something.
That's
I've
pretty
never seen
clever.
Moriarty do anything. Yeah, well, he's just...
Because it's
Don't get me
always
wrong.
Sherlock meeting clever people and then being more clever than them, and then it's like the next episode he meets like, and then it'll be like clever, 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 and these kind of. There's obviously the Moriarty's like the overarching clever.
Man.
The clever, anti-clever. Well, like the
Mean,
evil,
mean
clever.
Mean
man.
clever. Whereas Sherlock's nice clever.
Nice clever.
And his brother's in between the two.
Yeah, and then every episode it's got like minor mean clever characters that he has to best with
Yes.
his own cleverness.
Correct, yes.
And then throughout that,
Yeah.
you'll have people who aren't clever sort of relieving the tension.
Yeah,
You know,
and-
you've
and
built
they
it up
always-
of like clever, 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 and then it'll normally be a
And they're
working
always...
class or rural.
I was literally about to say
Yeah.
they're either Cockney, I've got a
Or they're
West
like,
Country
they're
accent.
like, hello.
We don't want no one here from London. With your clever words.
Just fucking...
It's like Benedict Cumberbatch going, and then liberty, and then tied by three.
And his
then,
eyes going...
and then we- What's all? You got a nice big coat on.
What's my name, Sherlock?
They do hit the juxtapositions hard in that show.
Yeah, and then you've got the kind of medium clever, but mainly a good soul, and more his sort of moral, his lack of autism.
I
his
think
main
you might be
skill.
talking about Dr. John Hamish Watson. I think I might have put my finger on where you're going with this.
I watched an episode with you once again in this doing a lot of things I wouldn't normally do because we don't really know what the right thing to do because of isolation. We did watch that episode together.
Well, we
I
had
did
an
forget-
argument on the way back from KFC last night, drunk, about whether we were going to watch Sherlock or another thing. I was like, just let go.
I put my foot
Yeah.
down.
You did put your foot down, yeah.
And I forgot how short his character is, and they don't.
Well, his character isn't short.
Yeah, well, he is.
Well, not John.
Your character is as short as
Martin-
the actor who
Martin
plays
Freeman.
it, surely. Is it not?
Well, not if it's been a very, very popular book series, famous book series.
Maybe.
You'd
That's
have
an
to
interesting
read-
question.
No, it's not.
Well, okay, fine. His act.
It's not. This is like...
It's not an interesting
No, it's
question.
not. If it's
not-
not. It's
it's
dumb.
not
But I'm going to put my foot down. If it was just a screenplay that goes into a film and it stays in that iteration, then if a small person plays the character is small. But if it's a book, and that's where the character was created, therefore is the character small in the book?
I don't know. Is he?
Neither do I.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
I don't think he is.
Well, John C. Reilly played him in
Jude Law
Holmes
played
and
him
Watson. Jude Law's not that small, I don't think.
No. Well, anyway,
Robert Downey
he's
Jr.
tiny,
is-
and they don't mention the fact that he's tiny, and I'm like,
They do.
do they?
Yeah, they make some quips about it.
Good. Well, I hope so. 'Cause
Yeah.
that was the thing. It was
And
like you
they-
can't.
They do make some fun quips later on about it. Just how about he walks really weirdly.
Yeah,
he
he
walks
does.
like he's constipated, and they allude to that. And more power to them. Honestly, more power to them. There should be more.
He's
of that.
like medium clever. Like he sometimes solves some stuff.
Yeah.
But in general, it's more his good-natured heart that kind of is his main thing. But what
He
has,
saves the
has that-
lives.
He has that annoying trait, and it's also funny that he's a doctor and an army man. So he kind of there's like it's sort of they got two in one. So
Yeah,
like
yeah.
whenever something happens, he'll be like, "I'm a doctor," and then he'll be like, "Oh, I'm
I'm
also
an army man."
Wait, were you a doctor? No, I'm both. I'm both.
It's the cringiest. Whenever he pulls out his badge and says his full name and rank, it's the worst thing I've ever seen. Dr. John Hamish Watson, 42
Won't stop you
Cavaliers.
watching it again when you watch the whole series.
Yeah,
over.
I don't look. What else am I going to fucking do? What else am I going to fucking do? I finished Breaking Bad. Now what am I going to do?
What other show is
To be
there?
fair, after like Breaking Bad, you need a palate cleanser.
Sure.
You need a palate cleanser because after that, like the standard of that TV, it's like it's almost it's too good.
Yeah.
Now I need a palate cleanser before I go back to something else.
Yeah.
Something new.
But what was I going to say about fucking John?
John Hamish Watson to
John
you.
Hamish Watson. To
John
me.
Hamish Watson.
He's small.
He's
He
small.
walks like he's constipated.
No, I had something.
His intelligence.
Yeah. No, I think that's. Yeah, I mean, the thing that stands by with me was that I remember the first episode when I watched it, and it sort of blew my mind at the time, was when he does that sort of how would you describe it? when he
just making deductions.
Deduction, yeah. He uses deduction. He's like crazy deductioning, and then he basically has this conclusion where he sees on the bottom of one of their phones, like little like marks, and then he says because of that you're an alcoholic, because you come home drunk every night,
and you can't put your thing. I like that. Now look,
and then the guy's like, "How did you know?" It's like that is a mental assumption to make because people.
Obviously, it is. Now, if you're gonna watch Sherlock, you're obviously gonna have to suspend your disbelief, aren't you? Obviously.
They're suspending
if
disbelief.
You're getting too much into the nitty gritty of.
I mean, I understand that's.
Just go along for the ride, mate. Just fucking switch your brain off for a second. Just go along for the ride. That's my tips on how to watch Sherlock. Because you can have fun. You can absolutely have fun. And every time...
When he goes into his mind palace.
Yeah, well, yeah. It's the hat. And sure, there's a lot of acting. But he's good in it. He's good in it.
But I still like the reading of it, of him doing all those things. Because nearly everything he says, he makes the assumption and it's always right. And it's like that's like at best 50-50.
Yeah.
I like the idea that he makes all these assumptions about characters. Like someone's just like, no, not at all, not even in the slightest.
Yeah, that would be the best thing of him. And you had this for lunch, and then your mother left you at this point. No, mate, no,
not even close.
Not even close, actually. You know, that was entirely wrong, Sherlock.
If I was meeting Sherlock, I'd be putting loads of stains and stuff. Well,
it's done. Like there was one bit that I mean, a lot of bits have annoyed me. I'm not gonna lie. But
on the fourth,
part of watching Sherlock is also kidding yourself that you're enjoying it. That's part of it. But
like
like
life.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why life imitates art.
Just pretend that it's fine and you're happy. But there was a bit recently where it's like this guy he came in and was talking to him. And then Sherlock miraculously deduced that he was eating something on a train or something. And then it all linked into another thing.
Yeah.
But he got that because he had a slight like tomato sauce mark on his mouth. Yeah. And then you couldn't really, I think the cameras were put in such a way that you couldn't see it when he first came in. Yeah. Then afterwards, it's huge. It's like the biggest tomato sauce. But you're like, come on, no one's fucking going around like that. Plus, I would have noticed that. You've had lunch today. You've eaten some sort of lunch, haven't you? Yeah, I thought as much. Powers of deduction.
Like you come in and you're holding a big bloody axe, like dripping in blood. Yeah. You recently murdered someone.
How did you know?
No, what I was going to say about John actually was he has that annoying trait.
Dr. John Hamish Watson.
Dr. John Hamish Watson. He has that annoying trait that he's seen time and time again, which is that he's one of those characters who never gets it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where it's like you have like the maverick lead character who will say something crazy or do something, and John will never ever Dr. John Hamish will never ever assume that he's got the right idea like he does every episode.
Well, that's the problem with being Dr. John Hamish Watson is that in you can't have. Because Sherlock's such a maverick genius and whatever, really you have to have. And to be honest, all Dr. John Hamish Watson is a vehicle for the reader to understand Sherlock.
What relative stupidity to the cleverness?
Yeah, well, because we need to be explained what the fuck's happening. Because otherwise, the only reason he exists is so that Sherlock can verbalise what the fuck is going on in his head. And that means John goes, what? And then he explains it to us idiots.
What? We can't. Why are we going down there? The killer's running that way.
Aha, but you didn't take into account the dot on his shoe.
But he ate tomato sauce for lunch.
You're going to tell me what's going on, Sherlock? In time, John, in time. But yeah,
I just love to write one episode where just everything he does is he just fucks. Like they run the opposite direction, and then it's like we reach a dead end. It's like, oh no, we probably should have.
We probably should have gone the obvious way, where the footprints led. But he has his shoes on backwards.
Why did you assume that his shoes were on backwards?
Yeah, no, that in hindsight, that was a bad assumption to make.
I don't know why it was.
Well, why would he not? He had pasta for dinner last night. So his shoes must be on backwards. It doesn't make any sense. Yeah, that's our Sherlock. But you know, if you're looking for something in this dark lockdown time, it's fun. It's got some comedic relief.
So that were your recommendation to the Boys Gone Wild fan base? Who?
Well, if you've just finished Breaking Bad and need a palate cleanser, then yeah.
You want your palate cleansed? Watch Sherlock.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to discuss? Anything else you want to get off your chest?
No, I don't. There's nothing. We've
We scraped the barrel, and so stay
what's the
safe
time?
over the Christmas period. We will do a Christmas special.
yes.
Probably once again, it will feel like it's going to be live from jail sort of vibes,
might
like it was last
Well,
time.
who knows where I'll be?
Yeah, but stay safe, stay swanky.
Keep the Christmas cheer vibing.
Merry Christmas.